what I mean? And it's just like, I know how we are on Guam. We get used to stuff and we just accept it. And right, and we're like, oh, there's how it is. You got to line up 5 hours to get, your driver's license or whatever. But there's always got to be a better way. That's it. I'm not hating. I'm just stating there's always a better way. And we have so many intelligent people working in the government of Guam. So many great minds making good money. Let's put our heads together and come up with a solution for this. 708, this is the link. It's Wednesday, February 24th. So we were talking about this rent relief. And like I said, I know Guam Housing has one, GHURA has one. And we got GHURA's executive director, Ray Topasna on. Now, good morning, Ray.
Morning, Chris. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. So where are we on the status with that? And then if I know you're not the GHC person, but are there two different programs with rent and mortgage relief?
Well, there's been a mortgage relief program that's been in place for a few months now. And unfortunately, because the federal regs are so stringent, we haven't had a lot of success, but that is actually being administered under the Guam Housing Corporation.
Okay.
There's still a lot of money available. That's my understanding. So if you're behind in your mortgage and you've been affected by COVID, please submit an application to the Guam Housing Corp. But the rent relief, or actually it's called the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, is separate and apart from that. And the Department of Administration is actually going to be the lead agency. GHURA has been providing technical assistance to DOA. And as well, the Guam Housing Corp and the governor's office, we've been meeting quite regularly, actually once or twice a week to stand up the program. I know there's a lot of frustration out there because the program has not been stood up, but I just want to let everybody know that it hasn't been stood up nationwide. That's my understanding. We're still waiting for the final guidelines to come out from the U.S. Treasury Department. That hasn't happened. We just yesterday believe there was an updated FAQ, or frequently asked questions, that's on their website. But aside from that, nothing is final with the federal government, but a lot of work has been done locally to get the program, to stand up the program. As I mentioned, between GHURA, the Guam Housing Corp, and the governor's office, we've been meeting regularly and working with the Department of Administration. But, I can share a few details before we actually launch, just so that people are well prepared. So the day we launch, hopefully we won't have a lot of obstacles. But, we're going to be asking people to go out to get some of the required documents that are going to be needed, such as you're going to need a photo ID, of course. That's the first. You would need to have a copy of your current lease agreement with your landlord. And then we would be asking for a proof of household income that was affected by COVID. For example, an unemployment letter from your employer. And then finally, a proof of unpaid rent or utilities. So if you can get a document from your landlord, say, for example, an eviction notice or your utility bill. So, we'll be asking the public to start getting those documents together so that when we officially launch, hopefully in the coming weeks or days, you'll be ready and you just submit your application, and hopefully things will go pretty smooth. And if I can talk a little bit about the eligibility, because I know that's a question in minds. Of course, you have to qualify for the first thing, based on the FAQs from the U.S. Treasury. You would have to qualify for unemployment benefits or experience a reduction in your household income due to COVID. The second eligibility requirement is you would have to demonstrate a risk of becoming homeless. For example, again, an eviction notice. And then the third requirement, which is where the challenge really, where we face challenges with the mortgage relief, is your household income has to be 80% of the area median income. Now, let me explain a little bit about that. You would say, for example, a household of three. You would have to be below approximately $46,800 in household income. A family of five, you would have to be below $56,200. I mean, I just want to put that out there so that we're not inundated by those that have income levels that are above that. And, certainly you're not going to qualify if that's the case. So,
Ray, do you think that those the Treasury parameters for eligibility, or is that a local?
No, that's what we're viewing on the Treasury website. Okay. The HUD, or the Housing and Urban Development Authority, is actually working with the U.S. Treasury to develop the guidelines. Again, the final guidelines are not in place, but they're, if you go into the U.S. Treasury website, there are frequently asked questions that are available. So you can read up on that, and it will really bring you up to speed.
We had a comment here. Why would the governor lift the moratorium on evictions if the program is not available yet? That is such a valid point. But again, to be clear, the moratorium on evictions has been lifted, but not for non-payment for those who are behind in their rent. They still can't be evicted for that. But like I said, I'm pretty sure landlords are going to get creative. But Ray, what I'm wondering is, it's taken so long to stand this program up. Are there other ways? I mean, maybe not with GHURA, but just riddle me this. Like, what if we just gave assistance out for rent relief or whatever type of assistance? Do you think it'd be a lot quicker? The way they did the Mangafa or any of these other kind of programs where they're just like, hey, we're just going to give you money.
The thing about it is we need to be very careful, Chris, because we don't want to give out money, find out these folks or some of them may be ineligible, and then similar to PUA, then there would have to be repayment. So, and again, we're not even behind the 8 ball. No state or territory has actually officially launched. We think we're right on par, and once the U.S. Treasury gives us the green light, I think we'll be ready to launch just alongside with every other state.
Right. But I'm sure, Ray, those people who are listening who are behind on their rent and waiting for some type of assistance, I'm pretty sure they're not going to be comfortable with that. Like, oh, hey, no one else has stood it up, so we're good.
Again, Chris, I empathize with everyone. I wish we could just, there's $33.6 million in the bank, but that's federal money, and we have to follow federal guidelines. Yeah. So U.S. Treasury hasn't even finalized those guidelines. I wish they could move a lot quicker. I know we've been meeting regularly, so a lot of work is in place, and we're ready to go once those guidelines are made available, and we can ensure that that every check that's dispersed is dispersed to an eligible applicant, and not encounter some of the challenges we faced in the beginning part of the pandemic. So, I wish I can say more, but if I can just say a few words about the moratorium on evictions.
Sure.
I believe that it's my understanding that you can only be evicted or you can't be evicted because you're late on your rent, but rather evicted for other reasons, such as domestic violence or a violation of your lease agreement, but not specifically because you're late on your rent. So I know there's a lot of people panicking out there on that, but believe me, you're not supposed to receive an eviction letter and be evicted just because you're 3, 4, or 5 months behind on rent.
Right. But also to my fellow renters out there, secure your area, because if the landlord can't evict you for non-payment, let's say, for example, you're behind 3 months on your rent, and landlord has said, damn, I can't kick this person out because they're late on their rent, but they got 3 trash bags in the yard, there's 5 chickens running around, this and that, you're out of here. So, guys, I mean, just cover your bases, okay? That's all I would say, because I'm pretty sure, as a renter, I'm probably a little biased towards the renters, but I'm pretty sure landlords, especially the lower level ones, we're not talking about the slumlords or anything like that, but the lower level renters, people who have maybe a property that's in the family that they rent out, I'm pretty sure there's cases where they're hurting just as much as the tenants. So they're going to have to do what they have to do. And we see, businesses get creative and work around some of these protocols. You can expect landlords to do the same thing. So, don't go and think that, oh, just because they can't kick me out as I'm late on my rent, that you're safe, because I don't think you are. And I know you got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. Ray, you want to start with the treatment centers? That's been kind of a recurring theme here on the show, is talking about the pandemic of crystal methamphetamine. And that's obviously one part of it, is getting up the treatment centers, the treatment sites. And that's where GHURA comes in. So I saw that you guys have this, is it Guma Famalawan, the Women's Treatment Center?
Yes, we partnered up, of course, with the Salvation Army, and we're hoping to build or construct a drug rehab facility for women in Teton. Right now, we've already awarded the contract. The contractor is trying to secure the bonding that's necessary. And once that happens, then we'll be able to break ground on that project. So we're really excited about that. We're also we've also been talking to the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center and providing technical assistance to them for the drug and alcohol building right adjacent to their current building in Tamuning. I believe it's about a $6 million project. So GHURA has been providing technical assistance on that. We are about 25% complete with the Central Arts Hall in Sinahanya. We broke ground on that right in the height of the pandemic, and that construction is moving along, even though we've had some challenges with skilled labor. And then the Amatic baseball field, it's about 60% complete. And again, we've had challenges with skilled labor, but we hope to cut the ribbon to that project shortly. The Sinahanya Fire Station, we issued a request for proposal for the design of that facility. We encountered a slight delay because between the Guam Fire Department and the governor's office, they had wanted us to incorporate an emergency 911 call center as part of the design. As you know, there's money available for that project. So that project would, when the design is complete, is going to have a fire station as well as the emergency 911 call center. And then there's the Telefofo former cottage home project. We've been working with behavioral health and DYA. This is a facility that was vacated back in, I believe, 2015, 2016. And it's completely abandoned. We took a look at that facility together with the Lieutenant Governor. And we had thought about possibly rehabilitating that facility or converting it into a drug rehab facility for men. And so we're working with behavioral health to do that. And then as well, we've been talking to the Guam Police Department about the construction of a Eastern Police Precinct, possibly down in Telefofo. So that's one of the things that we're really excited about. And then finally, the Olympic-sized swimming pool. The request for proposal for design is already left my desk. We should be able to issue that shortly once the governor's office identifies the funding for that particular project. So we want to build that pool right away. The Aganya pool closed down several months ago, and we need a facility. And then finally, the island charter.
Sorry, Ray, the Olympic-sized swimming pool, would that be in the existing Aganya pool site, or is there another property for that?
Well, what GHURA had proposed was to build it in Derido. Aganya is completely off the table, primarily because it's got structural issues due to the fact that it was actually built on wetlands. And surprisingly, it's been around for so many years, but the maintenance on that it's not worth it to keep that facility going anymore based on the engineering assessments that we received. So what we propose is to build a new Olympic-sized pool adjacent to the Derido pool, primarily because the infrastructure is already in place and the property is free and clear to build that pool. So if that is the location that gets the green light, the design will won't take too long, and then construction won't take too long either. So we're crossing our fingers that the governor's office is able to identify the funding shortly, because we're ready to go. We're ready to design it and we're ready to construct it. And then two more other projects I just need to mention, but it's still in the permitting stage, is the Inarahan basketball court and the Mongmong Totumaiti basketball court. So, we've got a lot on our plate. Aside from that, we're doing so many, we have about 25 construction projects just with our public housing unit. So that's all ongoing. We provide homes to 4,800 plus families collectively with our housing programs. And for the record, Chris, no one's been evicted or received an eviction notice during the during the pandemic. So those families are you can rest assured that GHURA's not out to get creative to try and evict anyone.
What about the solar at was it Guma Tranquilidad that you guys were talking about that?
Yeah, we issued a request for proposal for to partner up with a private company to provide solar energy to our Guma Tranquilidad residents. As you know, with all of our residents in our housing programs, we pay for the utilities. So we had thought about possibly looking at renewable energy to see whether there'll be a cost savings that's realized, and maybe the savings can be applied towards trying to improve the quality of lives of our Manamku down there. So we're waiting to receive, or the deadline to receive proposals is, I believe, first week of March. And once we get those, then we'll be able to review that, award it to a contractor, and hopefully bring solar technology to Guma Tranquilidad.
All right. Thanks for the update, Ray.
Thank you, Chris. And we do answer our phones at GHURA, and if not, please let me know, and I will get on staff to do that.
Right on. There you go. Maybe you could get some of your phone answers to go to these other agencies and help out. Thank you, Ray. There you go. Ray Topasna, Executive Director of GHURA 725.
25 construction projects is a lot.
Yeah, that is. This is the link. Coming up, here's who's coming up on the show, guys. Speaker Therese Terlahi. We have an arrangement with the speaker every other Wednesday. She comes on for an update and just answer a bunch of questions. So